I think it was finally a chance for us to give back to Mother Nature, and we could have done it a lot cheaper, like some of our competitors do. But to honor the First Nations, one of our goals was certainly to help people.
Welcome to Money Talks Life Lessons.
So today we're exploring what it really means to combine purpose with profit and how socially responsible businesses are built right here on Vancouver Island. We are so excited to have Rob and Jasmin Fuller here with us today, the husband and wife duo behind Glacier Organic Clay and Silt Clay Company. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Love to be here.
Great. So you two are such a great example of what we talk about often. Businesses that not only succeed financially, but make a real impact environmentally and socially. So today we're going to sort of dive deep into both of your stories. We'll ask, sort of how did your businesses start and what inspired you to work with the clay, in the first place. And then because we're talking about business and profit, we'll then sort of dive in and see if we could check on, what was the moment or when did you realize that you might be working with something more than just a product?
So Rob, can you share how Glacial Organic Clay began? And if memory serves me right, you have built some pretty incredible relationship with the Indigenous communities here as well.
Yeah, I sure have. I've been fortunate to have worked with a lot of the First Nations on the island here over the years, from my construction days, from my hotelier days, and all those kind of put me in good stead to understand a little bit how the First Nations had worked. And I had a real close friend by the name of Dave Mannix, who was the CEO of a $125 million trust fund to help First Nations and entrepreneurial. And he had this special group that it was a small 500-member First Nations that he took under his wing and helped them out. And he asked me to volunteer to be a director there. And I thought it was an interesting opportunity. I hadn't dealt with a lot of First Nations for several years after I sold some of my hotels on the West Coast. And I decided to take them up on the opportunity. And they were running an ecotourism business and just starting it out from whale watching and grizzly bear tours. And they had halfway up Butte Inlet, they had a fish hatchery right beside a whole bunch of grizzly bear habitat so people could view. And they were setting up the whole ecotourism business. And I was one of the first directors that came on board, and we helped them grow, develop, build the business, buy several boats, and put them into operations. And through that, we helped them do some fundraising, and we started to listen to how they shared their information. And some of the elders were sharing stories down to the younger generation. Then these guys were going to become the guides for these ecotourism boats. And some of the stories came out about this healing clay, how they went out to their summer camps and they fished and smoked all the salmon and got everything ready for the winter time. And they watched all these grizzly bears fighting each other for the fish. And they watched after they fought and they had scars and cuts, they would roll in this clay. So the First Nations people, they watched nature, and that's how they found all their medicines from watching the animals and their reaction. So they started to apply this clay on their skin and realized the healing qualities of the clay. So,
wow.
Yeah, that's what I said. And the stories that they had and the uses that they had, and it went back generation to generations. And then the chief started telling me stories of how his forebears had used it for even treating infections and other skin disorders. So one day, one of the elders volunteered to take me out to the end of Butte Inlet, a long inlet that's about 60 miles long from Campbell River. It takes about 2.5 hours, 3 hours by boat. Very pristine area. And when I got there, I looked up at the majestic glaciers that are above there, and 2 rivers flowed into Butte Inlet. And he showed me exactly where the camp was, and it was designed where the currents came around, and you could see a lot of the silt that came from the active glaciers being deposited. And when we went up there in April, the spring runoff had just started to come down, and the water was a turquoise blue from the amount of silt, clay silt that has been washing down from the glaciers through the river systems and into the estuary, and then the current took it around to a certain area and deposited it on the bank.
Wow.
Gorgeous. I bet you
Wow.
that was incredible to see.
Mhm.
Grizzly bears, orca whales, eagles, just such a pristine environment. And I was flabbergasted of the beauty or whatnot that we saw.
And what made you think, I've got to do something with this? Like what happened next after you saw this?
Over the years, being in real estate development, CEO of a NASDAQ company, I did a lot of different things in my careers, but I never was able to, one of my, as I got older, you always thought, I'd like to give something back. And both my wife and I both said that. And we wanted to find a sustainable type of a company that was really sustainable and wasn't just greenwashing and saying we did something. And we looked at this as a wonderful opportunity to try to take this clay to a commercial level. And there's many, many steps in between. But we loved the concept of the way that the First Nations had harvested everything by hand. They solar dried it in their camps and then into a powder, and then they took the powder as a medicine pouch and took that with them. The families took it with them wherever they went. And so they stocked up in the summertime, and that supply lasted the medicine man and the families that used it for the rest of the winter and spring until they were back out harvesting their own salmon. So we thought that if we were able to do it the same way the First Nations were able to do it, that would certainly add to our sustainability. But we had a further goal of a zero carbon initiative. So everything that we do is by hand. We solar dried in greenhouses, and we just let Mother Nature take care of that. And then we screen it to a real fine powder, and it has a less than a 1% water content to it, and it gets this fine powder that's about 8 to 10 microns, which is like talcum powder or icing sugar. It's a really fine powder, and people can't find silt like this.
So, Rob, you shared quite a bit with us already about, following the practices of the Indigenous people who've shared their stories with you. So in your practice, just sort of to further build on what you just said, what does sustainable and respectful harvesting look like for your company?
That's a good point that a lot of companies and even some of our competitors, they dig by excavator and they don't follow the practice that we do. We certainly have an archaeological finding. If we have seen any artifacts, we store them, we hold them, we notify the First Nations, and we have a wonderful working relationship with them. From a sustainability point of view too, we cart all our clay out of Butte Inlet with barges that are empty, that are returning back to where they had dropped off stuff, and then for transportation, we ship with empty haulers heading back to our greenhouses in Nanaimo.
Oh, so nobody has to make an extra trip.
That's right. Everything that we do, and some people may call us cheap for looking at the cheapest routes to go back with. But when they're backhauling, it is cheaper. But you're not using any more gas or energy, and that flows through right to our packaging and the way that we conduct business. We just really wanted to have a sustainable company that we'd be proud of, and when we retired, and it took a lot because not only once you found the area, we had to, and the area is immense, just in our region alone, there's 10 mineral claims that we've staked in the area, and each mineral claim is 50 acres.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so we've gone through all of that territory. We've done test results, we've got assays, lab results, and we know exactly, what product is in each of the locations. And more importantly, we found that there's a consistent amount of product. So in one area to the other area, most of the product within 5 or 10% has the same mineral content. So, our clay has over 50 minerals, and it has the ocean nutrients that are absorbed as the clay soaks in the ocean. So it was a long process to test all these things and then to establish legal claims over it. And that, again, took us even longer, because what we wanted to do before we created a market for it, we wanted to make sure that we controlled the resource. And then we went one step further and went across the mountain, fed by the same glaciers and a different river system, but basically the same clay that comes down there, and staked claims in the appropriate area on the other side of the mountain for redundancy, just in case something happened, a catastrophe happened. You never know, but we've got 2 claims with the same amount of product, and we've kind of controlled the area. Once we can control the area, then we started our marketing programs, and that was a whole new discussion, from there, the way that we approached it from a sustainability, and how the market had really gravitated to us because of that.
Okay, so what's striking me about everything that you've just said here, when we think about things from sort of a sustainability perspective and sort of the passing of knowledge from the Indigenous communities, is just sort of how methodical you were the whole way. Like when we think about respect and we think about lowest carbon footprint you possibly can have, it's a pretty incredible story to think that you've taken this information from the Indigenous communities, from the elders, from what they shared with you, to then being able to harvest with sustainable practices and somehow still think about using like the barges on their back and forth trips. Like that's a pretty genius idea. And I don't know how many people would think of something like that. Like that's pretty incredible. So it just seems amazing to me that this is sort of all formed with such intent and purpose.
Purpose and profit.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And just honoring the Indigenous communities throughout.
It was certainly a harder route to go down. It would have been much easier just to grab a pail of clay and dry it out and bring it back to you, but then you wouldn't have the infrastructure and the base that we put together. We're I think we're one of the only organizations. We're considered a mining company because we have mining leases, but we're the only mining company that has a zero carbon footprint. And more importantly, we're the only company, to our knowledge, that has an agreement. We have a 30-year agreement with the First Nations to pay them royalties based on what we harvest out of that area. And we pay them when we harvest it. We don't pay when we sell down the road. So there's a lot of upfront costs, and there's a lot of upfront work that has to be done before we see the profit end. But we're laying all the groundwork properly right now, and we're working with the First Nations for the long run. And we know that some of our proceeds that we give them help with their rebuilding their fish hatchery, help with their elder communications of recording a lot of past history before the elders do pass away. And there's some great history and great stories there, as well as just helping the grizzly bear habitat. And it's a wonderful ecotourism business that they've started, and they're going to continue to develop and grow and help their nation grow too.
You really just captured what are modern business practices in a sustainable lens, but also really honoring kind of that traditional knowledge from the Indigenous elders, right? So,
I think we were well ahead of our time in establishing. We've had this agreement almost for 8 years now with them, and it's been a wonderful relationship. We communicate, we help each other. We're involved with helping them with some of their other situations, like their radio station. We have a common group of interest, and it's just been a pleasure to work with. But it takes effort. It's a two-way street. But if you do it properly and you have the blessings of the First Nations, you can go a lot farther in my minds. And it's just a great feeling that we have, that we're sustainable. We're working with a group to help them as well. And hopefully when we get to the pearly gates, we'll be let in.
So I guess on that note, what has this whole process for you, Rob, taught you, like personally and professionally, with this new journey? Because you have a pretty diverse background from running
Yes,
hotels.
I think it was finally a chance for us to give back to Mother Nature, and we could have done it a lot cheaper, like some of our competitors do. But to honor the First Nations, they're just, if you get to know their way of life, and if you can mimic that into small degrees, and take something and bring it to a commercial activity. One of our goals was certainly to help people, and our clay, we haven't even got to the healing qualities of the clay, but once we saw how much this clay healed, we said we have to get this out to the masses, and that's something that's shared by all our shareholders, is a desire to help people and to make their life better, because skin's the biggest organ in your body, and our clay has a lot of redeeming qualities.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that, especially Jasmine's skincare company, in a moment. So maybe let's dive deeper into these healing components, because I think that'll be a nice segue into talking about what you're trying to achieve and how you're bringing that to kind of the everyday consumer and making a difference for them as well.
We just recently commissioned a testimonial study where we had just under 100 responses from First Nations telling us just the story about how their family used it. And out of the 100 or so stories that came through, we had 325 healing claims that have been validated. Certainly multiple claims of healing from scarring or acne or dry skin, but the amount of uses that the clay and the repetitive uses that came from these stories were phenomenal. And we're using those testimonials now as a base to base some clinical trials in the future to help validate the healing qualities of the clay, so we can advertise those specific elements, whether it be eczema or rosacea or just pure damaged skin that you want to repair, to rejuvenate it.
Yeah, because we talked about this prior, about burns, right? For example, and I know, Jasmine, you were showing this, and we actually, where you get a burn on the oven or on the stove, and you apply some of your clay, and you noticed extreme, much faster healing on that.
Yes, not only healing, it cools right away.
Right.
So it takes the burn out, and it's great for sunburns as well.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah. So many multiple uses for the product, and we're still finding more and more. But we've got nurses and naturopathic doctors that order the product all the time because it's an inexpensive way to heal the skin.
So Rob, we've talked quite a bit about the product itself and the skin being the largest organ. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of the makeup of the product and how it works?
It comes from a volcanic origin, millennium ago. They erupted up, and the type of material, in particular our clay, is more of a montmortallite clay, and it's a complex chemical structure that allows for a great absorption ability. And this absorption ability from this clay enables it to grab over 50 trace minerals in it. And then as it's deposited into the ocean, it also grabs some of the oceanic plankton and nutrients.
Phytoplankton.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that, and because it's in the ocean environment, the pH is very similar to your skin. So it allows for an easy transition of the minerals that are in our clay mixture into your skin to revitalize it. On the opposite end, as the clay runs down the river system that gets deposited, electrolysis occurs, giving it a strong negative ionic charge. And this strong negative ionic charge, as it's applied to the skin, detoxifies the skin because bacteria is a positively charged. And like a magnet, the toxins grab the positively charged bacteria and then are washed away after you wash the clay off.
Oh,
so
that's
it
amazing.
not only revitalizes and feeds your skin, it takes the bad elements that detoxifies the bacteria and whatnot that causes acne or other skin disorders away from your skin, and it provides a pH healthy environment again. And this is all done naturally, no chemicals, nothing else added, just pure clay.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
So Rob, thanks so much for talking about the healing properties and telling us all about sort of the impetus and the process for the glacial organic clay. This is a perfect segue into talking about the Sylt clay company and how that sort of came about from the glacial organics clay.
Yes.
So let's chat a bit about your story.
Well, I worked for Glacial Bay Organic Clay as well. I did sales, I did marketing, basically selling to companies that were using the clay to formulate products. I was so fond of the product and I believed so highly in it. I've always been wanting to come up with a line that would fully integrate the clay into every one of the products. So about 2 years ago, we had a customer, one of our customers, she uses it for her product called Rock On Clay. And she brought her sister along, Anne. And Anne and I started talking, and Anne was always interested in replicating something that Sylt was doing, but using it for a skincare line rather than Rock On is like a therapeutic that's used by athletes for injuries and
Muscle fatigue.
muscle fatigue. Thank you. So anyway, so Anne wanted to incorporate it into more of a skincare line. And so we started talking, and we had such similar thoughts and goals,
ethics.
Yeah, everything. We really aligned. So anyway, so that's how Sylt was born. And
You wanted to have a natural product line full of natural products.
yes, we wanted something that was healthy for your skin, not just, full of terrible chemicals that harm your skin.
And from sustainable products. So
And
you married
sustainable.
the best of both worlds.
Yes, yes.
Well, as a person who has I struggle with acne, and I like to blame my son for that because it was I never had that problem until
Yes.
I had him.
The hormones.
Yeah, the hormones, wonderful things. But I did try your product when I had my last breakout, and it did make a difference.
it's
So it
amazing.
was. And it felt nice on my skin because sometimes you have these different products.
Yes.
And I'm not going to name names here today, but you just kind of feel like there's a residue or it's not doing what you want it to do. But I felt very refreshed after using your
Oh,
product.
that's
So it was amazing.
It reduces and eliminates the oily backup, but it doesn't dry your skin out because it's a rejuvenating.
That's
so
what's really
you get
amazing.
the best combination of both.
About our clay, the clay powder, the mask. Sometimes when you use clay, when you take it off, your skin feels horrible and dry and everything. But with our product, what you find is it feels moisturized and hydrated.
Yes.
And it heals the acne, rosacea, whatever you have going on.
Yeah.
So
And you can even feel the tingles in your skin because it opens the capillaries,
Look.
which helps your inflammation reduce.
cooling.
And it's a cooling.
super cooling.
Wow.
Yeah,
I feel like when I get that tingling sensation, I know something's working.
exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's great.
Yeah, and it's good because sometimes, you get reactions and your skin turns red and stuff, and this does the exact opposite. So, and I brought some of my products so I can share with you what we have so far in
Ooh,
our
that's
line.
great.
Great.
Okay, so we have the face wash.
Yeah.
This has charcoal in it as well. So it's great for detoxifying and getting your skin all clean and ready. So this is a clay mask, which Joanne, you've
That's what I
used.
had.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Just mix it with water.
Just
very
water,
quickly.
two teaspoons of the clay with 1 teaspoon of water, and let it sit on for 15 minutes. You'll see as it dries when it's ready to come off. Sometimes it flakes off. So you may want to take it off just a little bit before that.
Just a dry powder to make it easy for transportation through the airports.
And then, yes, it's very travel friendly.
Yes.
So we're going to Mexico next week. So I'm going to take this with us in case of sunburns.
Perfect.
And we have our body butter.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about this one.
Yes, we're going to let you try it.
Ooh.
So it's got shea butter and like really great stuff in it just to moisturize your skin. And it doesn't feel greasy or anything.
And you would apply that, once, twice a day type of thing?
Or
as needed?
as you need it.
Yeah.
Like, now it gets so cold and dry. Like I put it on my hands more often, but you could apply it right after a shower, and it's got a really nice light fragrance on it.
Okay, great.
It solves lots of things. Even the summertime, I had a heat rash on my back
Yes.
and applied it, and then it reduced the irritation immediately and the rash within an hour. So
Yeah, the
Wow.
redness was all gone.
it's got some great components on top of just
Yep.
neutralizing.
Would it be good for cracking of the knuckles and
Yes.
skin? Because
Yes.
that's something that my son really struggles with.
Yes.
And they sometimes get so raw, right? So
Yeah.
I'm curious.
We're glad you asked
We
that
have-
question.
We have a nurse down in Victoria. She's suffered with dermatitis for years and years. And she says this has changed her life.
Wow.
Because, well, nurses are always putting the what's the stuff
Bacterial?
called?
Yeah.
The antibacterial stuff. It's full of alcohol, so it really dries your skin out. And for your son, like if you have really dry, super dry skin, we have a salve.
Okay.
So this is great for cracked heels, dried, knuckles, hands.
And this is your hand and heel.
Hand and heel. Yeah.
Perfect.
And for, I said the elbows. Yeah. And
But
last,
it's geared from, we have people in the oil patches in Alberta where the cold cracks the tips of their fingers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is just a great, they apply it on their fingers and leave it in overnight, and it restores and rebuilds the skin around the cracks.
So that would be a good practice. You put it on before you go to sleep every single night, and then you should notice some pretty.
Yeah, and some people
immediate.
even put it
Wow.
put it inside a glove, so it doesn't come off, and it just stays there all night. And they see vast differences within 1 week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
That's
it
great.
soothes right away. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And then we have the lip balms right now. We have vanilla mint and a grapefruit flavor.
Ooh.
And the clay is what makes all these products on another level. So
They're good
really-
to begin with the natural ingredients, but the clay gives them a little bit of a boost.
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have one more product coming out.
I didn't bring it because we don't have a label yet. We just finished formulating a clay mask. So for people that don't like to mix the powder and all the muss and fuss, you just take it out of the jar and it's ready to apply.
Fabulous.
Yeah, it's a facial mask we've been working on for probably 5 years
Yes.
with the formulator that we've just finally got it to a perfect
Yeah.
stage, stability stage, life, shelf life, everything else. But it's a beautiful velvety, smooth product that
I
comes
should have
out.
brought it.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
No, that's
Great.
great. So when we think about sort of the, everything that you've put into the Silt Clay Company, what were you hoping to bring to the skincare world that you felt was missing with this product?
Well, I don't think there's a line anywhere that incorporates silk into every single one of their products. And that's been our goal. So like right now we have the clay mask coming out, which is mostly clay. It's got a huge percentage of clay. Then we want to add a face moisturizer because what we're finding right now, people are using the body butter on their face because they love it so much. But it's quite thick and heavy. But a lot of people have had success with it. Yeah.
Well, you wanted to really come out with a natural line, a fully natural line of products.
Yes.
Because in the past, so many cosmetic companies have used chemicals, and they produced results initially, but long-term use, people, especially in Asia and other countries where they have very sensitive skin.
I don't think you can say chemicals because everything's a chemical, even water, H2O, right? But you want to have good things on your face. You don't want things that damage your skin. So we're really cognizant of what what we put into our products and make
What
sure
the
that
formulators
it's
do. Yeah.
yes. So and another really cool thing about us is all our stuff is manufactured in BC.
Oh,
Actually
wow.
on the mainland, and we have a formulator in Kelowna, but that's about it. So everything's really local, which we really love.
That actually segues perfectly into my next question.
Okay.
I was going to ask about sort of your decision-making process for your packaging and, sourcing and marketing and all that sort of stuff. So how do you approach, all of that in a responsible way?
Well, like some of the larger brands, what they would do is, they say made in Italy, made in New York. So you have stuff shipping all over the place. So with us, everything's really close to us. And we do try to pick sustainable packaging, but at the same time, what is sustainable? Like, in order for the clay to stay fresh, we have to make sure that the bag is waterproof. Otherwise, it wouldn't work with the clay, right?
Right.
So we try to use stuff that will create as small of a footprint as possible.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do your customers sort of overall, and I think I know the answer to this just based off of my reaction, but what do you think they connect most with you on, like in terms of this? Do you think it's the product or the mission?
I think it's both.
Okay.
Because we've done quite a few demos in the last few months, and everyone's really excited that it's a local product, and especially with the Buy Canadian movement, but now we're Buy BC more or less for us, or Vancouver Island. And sorry, what was the other question?
Product or mission?
Oh, product or mission. It
Okay.
starts with the product, because the product has to speak for itself. Because if you have a product that doesn't perform, nobody will come back and buy it again, right?
They initially come because of the story and the natural products. I think they come back after they see the effect that it has. It's more than just a cosmetic because of the healing qualities that come in our clay. So they get more results from it, and that's what brings them back. Certainly, the story is great, and talking about using all natural ingredients and the combination of them all. Certainly, that's the first purchase. But what brings them back, and same with our formulators that we sell our powdered clay to, what brings them back is the results that their customers get,
Yes.
or the Silt customers
Yes.
get.
So it's the full package.
Yeah.
Really, it really is.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking earlier off camera about some advertising work that we have seen you do. We had the privilege of listening to,
Yeah.
and I listened to that and immediately went to the website. Like,
Oh,
I
that's
was like,
cool.
this is amazing, like straight to the website. So I would totally, like, I haven't had the chance to try it yet, but I totally suspect I'd be one of those people. The story is incredible to me. The mission's incredible to me. And then once I get the chance to use what I've ordered, then it'll be
Then we
fantastic.
make you a believer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
that's
think we're in
awesome.
a time right now where people want to feel connected to the products that they're using, right?
Yes.
And so when you, Rob, were sharing the origin story from, being passed down from the elders to the grizzly bears doing it in the most natural, raw way, to how that kind of relates to us as well, and how, and involving it into a product that we can use on the day to day that's good for our skin, good for the world. In my mind, I don't know why anybody else would do anything different.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, you connected the dots with saying yes, and then the results are great on top of it.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, for me, being a consumer and somebody who also has, skin challenges, it would be, am I going to support a company that checks all my boxes or not? Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's a pretty incredible story.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
So what's next for you, Jasmine, and the Silt Clay Company?
I'm just trying to spread the word, and so people find out about Silt. Right now we're in, I think, almost 10 stores across the island, and we have one store in Canmore. No, in Alberta. Not Canmore. I'll think of it. Cochrane.
Cochrane.
Yeah, sorry. And we just want to keep introducing it to different retail markets, and just so people can find out about our clay besides it being just on the website.
You really wanted to build a grassroots momentum
Yes.
to spur and eventually flow that demand into a retail
Yes.
empire for you.
Yes.
And what's next for Glacial Organic Clay?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that. We've got some really interesting stuff coming up now. We've done the hard work of consolidating all our inventory, and we know where the product is. We've been out in the last 3 or 4 years telling people about the great benefits of glacial marine clay. Now it's our turn to go to the therapeutic side and start some clinical trials and testing and validation of all the numerous healing claims we have for the many skin disorders. And that's going to require us to go out and raise some funds, and then to produce these reports so we can get some Canada Health product numbers that would validate the healing claims, and we'd add that onto all our suppliers. So Silt clay could then utilize that active ingredient status. And that will take us another year or 2 years, because there's so many different types of healing qualities or healing characteristics of our clay. So we're really excited about that stage because that will really put us on the map.
And expand your audience and the market.
Right now, people use our clay and knows it works, but we need to take it one more step and put the scientific so we can actually make those assumptions
And claims.
and
Yes.
claims. Yes.
So you're both business owners, parents, and partners.
Yes.
So how do you balance everything personally, professionally? You're running two massive clay empires. How do you do it?
We've been lucky to some degree because we've been married for so long, but every business that we've been involved in, we're both the Bachelor of Commerce people and we understand the business side. But I'm lucky to have a supporting wife who really deserves more of the limelight from all the work that she's done in the background. But we just have a great working relationship. We went to school together. We just have an ability to work together. And there's ups and downs. Like any marriage or like any business partnership, we've just combined both together. and it works for us. Complementing skills. Jasmine's got a very creative mind, and mine's more of an analytical business side from it as well. And it just marries itself up nicely.
Yeah, because Jasmine, you're a marketing background, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's what my degree is.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
But we've got the kids involved in the business as well. They're all BCom people as well, and they're shareholders in our business, in our holding company. So they take an active. My son's he's harvested the clay. He's worked in the business. Certainly, my daughter's helped Jasmine on the marketing side and strategic decisions and everything else. So we make it a family affair.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So often in our day-to-day lives, we like to talk about socially responsible investing. And most of our clients immediately think of stocks or mutual funds. And it's very a high-level view of this concept. But it all really comes down to businesses like yours, right? And so how do you see your role in inspiring investors or consumers to think differently about where their money goes, right? Especially when it comes to investing.
I think we've looked at it from a totally different perspective, where everything that we've done, and we've been fortunate that we've had this approach from day one, and we've developed this sustainability approach, so it becomes easier. We don't have to correct it. We don't have to backtrack. We knew exactly what we wanted to do in the early days, and we went and achieved it. And there was difficult processes in each stage, but like anything else, you just think outside the box and you can bring new things. And we're seeing results in the marketplace when we go to these large trade shows and introduce a sustainable product like ours that is harvested. And even the people that are in the mining industry have made comments. We were at the resource show in Vancouver last January, and they were making comments about a mining company that's carbon neutral, impossible. And then when they hear our story, it provides a completely different light. So from one end, from the manufacturing side, we've shown that we can do it. Jasmine's on the opposite side, showing the cosmetic industry how you can do it with natural products that actually work, rather than the promotion and the hype that buys it. And it's a nice jar, but there's nothing really inside that works. She's done a better job of actually making it function and helping people.
Right.
And that's our overall goal, is to help people in the world with their skin.
It's quite interesting because Melissa and I often do that when it comes to some of the investment companies we work with. We often send them a list of questions to kind of figure out their intentions and how truly sustainable are they, right? And those questions can be very telling into, once we lift up the hood of a company, they might say that they are very green and environmentally friendly. But when you have a deeper look in, you find that that's not truly the case. So I think the moral of the story here is for consumers is to start asking more questions. Figure out companies' stories and where they came from, because as you mentioned, from day one, you had a very clear mission on what you were both trying to achieve, and you saw that all the way through to now your products that you're releasing to the public. So I think it's so important for people to really find out the products they're using and what makes up the inner workings of it.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty
So important. Yeah.
it's pretty amazing what you have done here.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so now we get to do the fun part. We call it a rapid fire. It's a
Okay.
series of questions we'll ask you that hopefully will be impactful to you and easy to answer.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so for both of you, what one word would you use to describe your relationship with nature?
Jasmine.
Just gratitude. I love being out in
That's
nature.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rob.
Closer.
Okay.
We have a closer relationship because we live it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
Okay.
that.
Okay. How about your go-to self-care ritual? Jasmine, we'll start with you again.
Mine using the Silt products. I use the face wash daily and in the shower and at my sink. I have 2 bottles going.
Awesome.
And yeah, just take care of your skin.
Okay.
And I'm old school. I'll just mix up some powdered clay and put it on my face usually because that's the what gets the most of the brunt and any other ailments that we might have. It takes care of it, but that's about my routine.
Okay.
Straight and simple,
Yep.
easy.
What's one value you hope your business always reflects? Start with Rob this time.
Giving back to our customer satisfaction in the sense we've talked about how important it is for us to really get healing remedies for people, not just a cosmetic to make them look better for a short period of time. This actually works with the skin for a long period of time, and
Right.
that's what we enjoy.
Great.
Okay.
How
I
about you?
agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time you answer first.
Okay.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone wanting to make a difference with their work, what would it be?
You go
Good
first.
advice.
To
Goodness.
someone wanting to make a difference with their work.
I think you have to believe in what you're doing
Mm.
and also make sure that what you're saying you believe in is actually true.
Mm.
Yeah. Sincerity is important,
Yeah.
and to have a buy-in from everybody in the company, so everybody's rowing in the same direction with the common goal.
That's a good
Love
one.
that.
That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in closing, wanted to talk to you a little bit about what gets you out of bed every day and excited about the great work that you're doing. What motivates you?
Yeah,
Mm.
there's certainly with our business and with startups, there's always ups and downs. But what we get the most satisfaction is hearing stories like you just told us of applying it on your face and getting some real positive results. That above anything else, probably more than money coming in. It just excites us all, and all our people, our shareholders, and our staff in our company feel the same way, and that's been done on purpose. We hire people with that sort of an attitude and need or want to make our customers happy, and by having a great product and giving them results, that's where when we get the testimonials and the feedback, that's what drives us to the next level and then the next day.
So Rob, Jasmine, thank you so much for sharing your journey with both of your businesses. You've really been a great example of how both money and purpose can coexist together. It's been amazing having you here. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for
you.
the opportunity
Yeah.
to tell everybody about our company and to kind of share the vision that we have, and hopefully our products will make a difference not only to your viewers' lives but other people as well as the word spreads.
I echo what Joanne said. This has been really informative and incredible. So when we talk about our listeners and our viewers, where can they find you?
Well, we're on the web, of course, glacialorganicClay.com
Organic clay.
and
And siltclaycompany.com or on Instagram, we're Silt Clay Co.
Perfect. We're
Perfect.
going to put all of that information on the video, in all of our links, so that everyone will be able to find you.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Thank
that. Thank
you.
you.
Thanks again.
This is fantastic.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Money Talks, Life Lessons.
And please check us out on Spotify, YouTube, or our website, islewealth.ca. Bye for now.
Corporate disclaimer. This podcast has been prepared by and with expressed opinions of Joanne Cabin and Melissa McGuire, and are not necessarily the opinions of Raymond James Ltd., RJL. Statistics, data, and other information presented are from sources RGL believes to be reliable, but their accuracy cannot be guaranteed. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of securities. Investors considering any investment should consult their investment advisor to ensure that it is suitable for the investor's circumstances and risk tolerance before making an investment decision. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. Information provided in this podcast is general in nature and should not be construed as providing legal, accounting, and/or tax advice. Should viewers have any specific questions and/or issues in these areas, please consult a legal, tax, and/or accounting advisor. RJL is a member of the Canadian Investor Protection Fund. Raymond James USA Ltd. advisors may only conduct business with residents of the states and/or jurisdictions in which they are properly registered. Raymond James USA Limited is a member of FINRA and SIPC. We hope you enjoyed the podcast, and for more information, please visit islewealth.ca.